Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. So today we'll discuss about the inherited metabolic disorder. Starting with the first definition, let's see the definition and about some of the introduction about this topic. The inherited metabolic disorder are genetic condition that results in the metabolism problems. So most people with inherited metabolic disorder have a defective gene that results in an enzyme deficiency. And approximately there are hundreds of different genetic metabolic disorders, and their symptoms, treatment and prognosis vary widely. Let's talk about the metabolism. Cellular biochemical reaction that occurs within the body. This involves the breakdown, that is the catabolism, and also the formation, that is also known as anabolism, of chemical compounds. And it leads to the metabolic pathway, that is the sequence of chemical reaction of a metabolism. An enzyme, that is a protein that controls the chemical reaction or steps in the metabolic pathway. So it is the inherited metabolic disorder are due to deficient activity of an enzyme in a metabolic pathway. The deficiency results in blockage of the metabolic pathway, and the clinical consequences arises because the substrate prior to the block accumulates and can be treated as the toxic material. Essential products beyond the blocks are not formed, and other compounds may be formed via alternative pathways which may be toxic. So basically, the inherited metabolic disorder refers to the different types of medical condition that is caused by your genetic defects, and is most commonly you're inherited from both the parents that interferes with the body's metabolism. Now these conditions may also be called as inborn errors of the metabolism. If we talk about the metabolism, is a complex set of chemical reactions that your body uses to maintain your life, including your energy production, special enzyme breakdown foods, or certain chemicals, so your body can use them right away for fuel or store them. Also, in certain chemical processes, break down substances that your body no longer needs or make those it lacks. So when these chemical processes don't work properly due to hormone or enzyme deficiency, a metabolic disorders occur. This is known as your inherited metabolic disorders. So inherited metabolic disorder falls into different categories depending on the specific substance, or rather it builds up in harmful amounts because it can't broken down, or it's too low, or it's missing. So this is known as your inherited metabolic disorder. If we talk about, I have discussed about the metabolism. So let's talk about what is metabolism. Metabolism refers to all the chemical reactions taking place in our body that used to convert any of the substance or use energy. A few major examples of metabolism is, for example, metabolic activity. We can say the breakdown of the carbohydrate or protein, fats in food to release energy. We can say also about the metabolic activity as transforming excess nitrogen into waste product excreted in urine, breaking down or converting chemicals into other substances and transport them inside the cell. So these all are the activities. That is an example of metabolism, or you may know what is a metabolic activity and what is the metabolism here is regarded. So metabolism is an organized but chaotic chemically assembled line. Raw material, half finished product and waste material are constantly being used, produced, transported and excreted. The workers on the assembly line are enzymes and other proteins that make chemical reactions happen. So this is what the metabolism, this is what the metabolic pathway and enzymes, that is the workers who are acting within the metabolic pathway to govern the whole process of metabolism, and you have, I think, understood what is the metabolic pathway. Now there are some symptoms of inherited metabolic disorders. Okay, when your body is not functioning properly, your organs do not receive the proper instruction, proper guidance, and could not able to perform the proper functioning of a particular organ. So this is shown by some of the symptoms. So the symptoms of inherited metabolic disorder vary depending on the conditions. Some symptoms are mild while others are debilitating. Some symptoms are maybe developed due to developmental delay. It can be recognized by your weight loss, your growth disorder, seizures, poor appetite and energy level is generally seen in those patients who are suffering from this metabolic disorder. Unusual odors such as sweetness in urine, sweat, breath, pain in the abdomen, these are the common symptoms that occur due to any of the metabolic disorders. So generally, as I told, there are hundreds of metabolic disorders that are present nowadays and can be vary from person to person. So inherited metabolic disorders are typically grouped by the affected substrate. Means it is totally depend upon the substrate. As I told that the inherited metabolic are due to the deficient activity of an enzyme or occasionally multiple enzyme in a metabolic pathway. Well, means it occurs due to any of the particular enzyme which are not working properly in any of the metabolic activity. So of that enzyme we have kept the name as block. So the deficient block of the metabolic pathway and the clinical consequences, as I told, that the substrate prior to block accumulates can be toxic and it cannot produce that which could be prior it was produced. So depending upon that substrate, it is of 4 types. Inherited metabolic is of 4 types. First is your amino acid metabolism disorder. Second is your carbohydrate metabolism disorder, fatty acid metabolism disorder, and purine and pyrimidines metabolic disorder. So amino acid metabolic disorder, metabolism disorder, is generally related to all the amino acids. If somehow any of the protein or any of the enzyme is blocked or could not able to perform the particular function, that is regarded as the amino acid metabolism disorder. And if we talk about the macromolecules, that comes under the category of carbohydrate. Means if any of the failure occurs in carbohydrate metabolism, that occurs in your carbohydrate metabolism disorder. Another macromolecule that is required in our body is fatty acids. When certain types of fatty acid do not work properly, that comes under this category. And fourth one is your nitrogenous bases, that is purine and pyrimidine. Sometimes it happens that due to these failure of these working metabolism of purine and pyrimidine, there's also occurs the inherited metabolism disorder. So let's discuss it in detail. Here are some dietary management of some inherited that I have discussed prior this slide. That there are generally 4 types of metabolic disorders occurs in our body, related to amino acid, carbohydrate, fatty acids, and your last one purine and pyrimidine. So here I'm first one taking as your amino acid disorders. So amino acid disorder depends upon, first disorder is your classical phenylketonuria. This is the very common disease that occurs in the patient nowadays. The phenylketonuria is generally the deficiency of enzyme PAH that results in high level of phenylalanine in the blood. Intellectual disability results in this condition is not recognized. So phenylketonuria generally, classical phenylketonuria is very common. So for this disease, for this disorder, the according to dietary management, you have to concern low phenylalanine diet plus phenylalanine free tyrosine enriched amino acid supplement should be provided to the patient. Second disorder that comes under the category of amino acid disorder is maple syrup urine disease. So deficiency in this maple syrup urine disease, the deficiency of an enzyme called BCKD causes buildup of amino acids in the body. Nerve damage result and the urine smells like a syrup. So in this disorder, the patient is advised to have a diet that consists of low leucine, isoleucine, valine diet plus leucine, isoleucine, valine free amino acid supplements and amino acid supplements given during the illness. Next disorder is tyrosinemia type 1, type 2. For this disorder, low protein diet is recommended. Tyrosine phenylalanine free amino acid supplements are given to the patient. Last is classical homocystinuria. In this disorder, low methionine diet plus methionine free cysteine enriched amino acid supplements are given to the patient. Next is organic acidemias. In this, the first disorder comes your methylmalonic acidemia. In this disorder, low protein diet to limit methionine, threonine, valine, isoleucine intake plus methionine, threonine, valine, isoleucine free amino acid supplements sometimes is recommended during this disorder. Next disorder is isovaleric acidemia. In this, low protein diet to limit isoleucine intake is recommended to the patient. Urea cycle disorder, it is another type that is comes under the inherited metabolic disorder. So the first is ornithine carbamyl transferase deficiency, or known as citrullinemia, or arginine succinic aciduria. So for this disorder, urea cycle, the patient is generally given low protein diet to limit waste nitrogen for excretion plus arginine supplements, essential amino acid supplements may be needed for the patient as per their condition. Next, related to carbohydrate diet, the second category that I have discussed, that 4 type of inherited metabolic disorders are there. So in that condition, the second class is carbohydrate disorder, that is related with classical galactosemia. In this, minimal galactose and lactose diet are preferred. Infant soya milk substitutes are given. Next disorder is glycogen storage disease type 1, type 3. So for this disease, frequent supply of exogenous glucose is provided as continuous overnight tube feed and either 2 hourly daytime feed or uncooked corn starch. For type 3, milder disorder requires less intensive dietary treatment. The third category, as discussed, fatty acid oxidation or lipid disorder. For this, very long chain acetyl coenzyme A, long chain 3-hydroxyl acetyl coenzyme dehydrogenase deficiency, medium chain acyl coenzyme dehydrogenase deficiency, and familial hypercholesterolemia is discussed. So for these 3 deficiencies, minimal long chain fatty acids are recommended, high increase of CHO diet and medium chain triglyceride supplements are given to the patient, and frequent daytime feeding and continuous overnight tube feeding are recommended, or uncooked cornstarch. Emergency regimes during illness. Healthy eating, restricted saturated fat replaced with poly and monosaturated fats are provided for those who are suffering from familial hypercholesterolemia. So let's see what are the emergency regimens for the inherited metabolic disorders. Metabolic stress, for example, intercurrent infection combined with poor or oral intake and fasting. Anesthesia, surgery can precipitate severe metabolic decomposition in some of the inherited metabolic disorders. The decompensation is due to the catabolism with concomitant increased production of toxic metabolites. An emergency regimen is given to provide energy and help minimize the effect of catabolism, and the basic emergency regimens is similar for all the disorders. Firstly, the glucose polymer can be flavored to improve the palatability. The glucose polymer drinks are given to 2 to 3 hours day and night. Carbohydrate concentration of these volumes given depend on age and weight. Glucose polymer can be flavored to improve the palatability. If an oral rehydration solution is prescribed for the treatment gastroenteritis, and additional glucose polymer need to be added to provide a final concentration of 10 to 12% of the carbohydrate. Too concentrated a solution may exacerbate the diarrhea. For some disorders, additional specific therapy is given, such as drug to promote excretion of toxic metabolite or amino acids to promote the anabolism. So if emergency regimes is not tolerated, an admission to the local hospital for the stabilization with fourth fluid is often necessary. Parents therefore need to have explicit and hand-held written emergency regimes instruction that explains the disorder, hospital management, and provide contact details for the specialist metabolic center. Next is, let's talk about the phenylketonuria. So phenylketonuria is due to a deficiency of an enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase that converts the essential amino acids phenylalanine to tyrosine. So phenylalanine accumulates in plasma and is neurotoxic in nature. So earlier I was talking about the toxicity. So here accumulation of phenylalanine is causing the neurotoxicity in the plasma. Tyrosine, which is essential for the synthesis of protein and the ketocolamin neurotransmitter, becomes deficient. So what is phenylketonuria? Phenylketonuria is generally an inborn error of metabolism that results in decreased metabolism of amino acid phenylalanine. If untreated phenylketonuria can lead to intellectual disability, seizures, behavior problem, and mental disorder. So it may also result in musty smell and lighter skin. A baby born to mother who has poorly treated phenylketonuria may have a heart problem, a small head, or a low birth weight. So it is generally a genetic disorder. As I told, it is a genetic disorder inherited from a person's parent. It is due to the mutation in PAH gene, which results in low level of enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase. This results in buildup of dietary phenylalanine to potentially at toxic level, where it is known as neurotoxic. So it is an autosomal recessive, meaning that both the copies of the gene must be mutated for the condition to develop. And there are two main classes of this phenylketonuria. That is, first is a classical phenylketonuria, and second one is variant phenylketonuria, depending on whether any enzyme function remains or not. So those with one copy of mutated gene typically do not have symptoms of this. So patients are treated with low pH phenyl diet that is continued throughout the childhood. So here is a mutation chart that how the phenylketonuria is inherited from the parents. So for a child to inherit the phenylketonuria, both mother and father must have and pass on the defective gene. This pattern of inheritance is called as autosomal recessive. As I told that it is an autosomal recessive, means both the copies of the gene must be mutated for the condition to develop this disease. It's possible for a parent to be a carrier to have the defective gene that causes the phenylketonuria, but do not have the disease. So here are the parents, the father and the mother. They are unaffected, but having the genes, they are acting as a carrier for the particular phenylketonuria, having the genes in their chromosome. Defective gene that causes the phenylketonuria, but not have the disease. So if only one parent has the defective gene, there is no risk of passing the phenylketonuria to the child, but it's possible for the child to be a carrier. So suppose if the parent do not have a gene, one of the parent do not have a gene, so there will be a possibility to have an unaffected affected child, but he or she may be the carrier for that. So most often the phenylketonuria is passed to the children by two parents who are carrier of the disorder but don't know it. So as an autosomal recessive disorder, two phenylketonuria alleles are required for an individual to experience the symptoms of the disease. So for a child to inherit this disease, both the mother and father must have to pass on the defective gene. And if both the parents are carrier for the phenylketonuria, there is 25% chance of any child they will be born with the disorder, and a 50% chance of the child will be a carrier. So here is the two unaffected carriers are there, that is the 50% chance for them to be the carrier, not to be diseased, and a 25% chance of a child with neither develop nor be a carrier for the disease. So here is the unaffected child, that is 1 in 4 chance have 25% have the chance to have a proper pure child of not having the carrier even or not having affected by the disease. Let's see about the causes. So a defective gene causes phenylketonuria, which can be mild, moderate or severe. In a person with phenylketonuria, this defective gene causes a lack of or deficiency of the enzyme that's needed to process phenylalanine and amino acid. A dangerous buildup of phenylalanine can develop when a person with phenylketonuria eats protein-rich food such as milk, cheese, nuts or meat, and even grains such as your bread, pasta, eats aspartame and artificial sweetener. This buildup of phenylalanine results in damage to nerve cells in the brain. So other than there are certain causes also that results in phenylketonuria disease, and along with this there is a risk factor of inheriting PKU, including having, first as I told, that both the parents with defective gene that causes the PKU phenylketonuria, that two parents must pass along a copy of defective gene, and second cause is risk factor is being of certain ethnic descent, means the gene defect that causes the phenylketonuria varies by ethnic group and it's less common in African American than in other ethnic groups. So let's talk about the low phenyl diet. Its main principle is to restrict intake of dietary protein to maintain the plasma phenyl concentration. Provide daily phenyl allowance. Daily phenyl intake varies between the patient and depends upon the level of enzyme activity. That is, the phenyl prescribed is based on the plasma phenyl concentration. Phenyl intake is measured using a system of 50 mg phenyl exchange or 1 gram protein exchange, or if phenyl content of the food is unknown. Phenyl is provided in breast milk, infant formula for babies, low protein food, for example potato, pasta, or older infant and children's. Phenyl intake is divided evenly across the day. Give a phenyl free amino acid supplements with added tyrosine. Essentially, because phenyl restrictions limit natural protein intake to below that needed for the normal growth. Generous intake of phenyl free amino acids are recommended. For example, 0 to 2 years need 3 gram per kg body weight, and for 3 to 10 years children 2 gram per kg per day. So amino acid supplements is given 3 to 4 times throughout the day, combined with some of the measured phenyl foods. Give a vitamin and mineral supplement to meet the normal dietary requirements. Provide adequate energy intake for growth from a combination of naturally very low protein foods. So here are certain low phenyl diet monitoring. First is low phenyl diet is monitored by regular measurement of plasma phenyl concentration. Untreated patient will develop severe mental retardation due to this. So low phenyl diet is monitored by the plasma phenyl concentration. Frequent of monitoring and aims of the plasma concentration at different ages. Ideally, the blood should be taken and it should be measured. So reason for high plasma phenyl concentration is intercurrent illness, too much dietary protein phenyl, insufficient amino acid supplements, unintentional use of non-phenyl ketonuria amino acid supplements, or gluten-free rather than low-protein manufactured food. There is also reason for low plasma phenyl concentration as inadequate intake of protein phenyl, growth spurt, increased requirement of post illness. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood all the processes and nutrients required for inherited metabolic disorder. For more information related to this, you can log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself for the particular course. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn, and yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.